The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to TalkNow Radio, where no topic is taboo. If y'all would like to call in during the show, the number here is 347-688-2902, or you can just ask your questions in the chat room as we go. So with that, without further ado, Chris, are you still with me?
I'm still here, Royce. How are you doing today?
I bet you thought I'd never shut up. A minute ago, I kind of had so many questions coming out that I didn't have a chance to remember my manners. I wanted to tell you I'm doing pretty good these days. And yeah, after we talked, I went ahead and got me some biotic, or I think it's biotic silver, similar to colloidal silver. And that seems to have helped me a little bit, quite somewhat. And I'm happy to say, Chris, that I'm now out of the hospital 2 weeks as of yesterday, which is a record for me since Halloween, when I've been in and out on a twice a week basis, it seems like.
Well, it seems like things are on the move for you, so that's just a good thing now, isn't it? Thumbs up on this end.
Well, yeah, and each time I went in, it was with the same thing, Pseudomonas pneumonia, and the reason for it was that it had colonized inside of my body, and, some of it would activate here, some would activate there, some of it remained dormant, and it was just enough to keep me getting sick back to back, in other words. About the time one got taken care of, another one would activate. And I'll be honest with you, because I know there's a lot of people out there, many of them fundamentalists, that would never touch any kind of a holistic or health food center stuff, apothecary, anything other than the doctors at the hospital for healing, because everything else is just snake oil or demonic or, what have you. But I got to tell you, there comes a point in everybody's life, if they get to a point that they're got an illness that's critical, that's fatal, whether it's long-term fatal or short-term. In other words, you could die in 6 weeks or you could die in 5 years. You don't know which. And the doctors have already told you they can't do anything to cure you. They can only slow it down or treat the symptoms, make you more comfortable. That you become a little more open-minded when your life's on the line. You're starting to feel your mortality to other things.
With the work that I do, this is what I do for a living. I do quantum healing 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. People call in to my office from all over the world. We do it on Skype and the telephone, and I work with a health problem. And 9 times out of 10, it is somebody who's gone through the entire allopathic health experience and have got 0 results or 0 answers. And that's, yes, you're absolutely right. That's when people start looking at the alternatives. Things are starting to turn around a little bit. Well, people will now first go to the alternatives instead of the allopathic and try to get the answers. But ultimately, yes, people they get desperate, let's say, and then they start to reach out to all of the other things that are available.
Yeah, that's the thing I was noticing about this is it seems like you have to get desperate, and then it's like you're taking a chance, but then for you it's not as much of a chance as it was last month before you heard.
That's right.
But that just, I think, kind of goes to show how, different things can get a bad rep, that sometimes it's deserved and sometimes it's not deserved. There's so much propaganda out in the world today that, it's in politics, it's in religion, it's in business. It's really hard to tell what is a good thing to go with and what isn't a good thing.
Well, you have to look at, let's call it conspiracy.
Yes.
Conspiracy theorists abound. You look on the internet and everything is a conspiracy. The governments rely on that so that the truth will not come out. If the truth did come out about something, you would still think it's conspiracy now, wouldn't you? Because there's so much of it. So it's very hard to really discern what is truth and what is conspiracy. And I do have a way around that. It's something called thinking with your heart. Thinking heart-mind instead of mind-heart. Thinking mind-heart means you're trying to think logically about something, trying to figure it out on a scientific level or a level of that you can understand that exists within our 3D reality. When you think with your heart or feel with your heart, is something right? That means does it resonate with you? If it resonates with you that, you know what, this is something that I need to research or something to look at, tells me that the frequencies are harmonizing with your body and it is resonating. That is with anything. I'll use the example when my wife and I, we had our first child, we had a son, and the topic came up about circumcision. Of course, my wife says, well, he should be like Daddy. And I says, well, why does he need to be like Daddy? And she says, well, because he's going to see you and say, how come I have this and he doesn't? And so, my thought, my feeling in my heart was, no, we do not circumcise. Just because I am doesn't mean that he has to be. And it felt very strong in my heart that we shouldn't do it. So that's the decision we made. I mean, you have to make one decision or another, okay? That's what society tells us. So when you make that right decision, it feels good in your heart, you know it's the right decision.
So you have a big office that you pay rent on and, a professional facility. People come into there and, you're pretty well established where you're at, in other words.
That's correctly it. This is my alter ego. This is my day self where I'm doing the healing work. And, of course, when I go home, I've got my wife and kids, and that I put that hat off, and I put on my dad hat, and every day I come back into the office and put on my healer's hat.
So you decided you'd rather do this than retire?
You know what? You retire, what do you do? Especially at my age. I'm only 52 now, and,
You're just a youngin'.
I'm just a youngin' in a big way. I saw it as an opportunity to start my life all over again. Now, we all make mistakes in life. We do things that we're not proud of, and we make decisions, with our jobs or with where we want to go as far as a routine. And I saw an opportunity, number one, to do a different type of work. So I got out of the printing industry, which was lots of messy ink and toxic solvents and heavy lifting and bad hours, something where now I'm helping people with their health problems and actually making a difference, and also started a family at 50 years old. I met somebody else. She's 15 years younger than me, and she says, Chris, if we're going to be together, we're having kids. And I said, okay, let's have kids. How many people out there can say that at 50 years old they had an opportunity to restart their life all over again and get it right?
Really? I mean, actually, I'm a bit of a youngin' too. I'm a bit of an older youngin' than you. I'm 55. But I don't seem to be getting a chance to restart mine and do it right, not with my health the way it is.
Well, with a bit of luck, we can get you there.
I'd have to undo a lot of things that I regret from the past, because like you say, I think we all did some things that we regretted. To give everybody your website.
Absolutely. My website is chriskehler.net, and it's spelled CHRISKEHLER.net. chriskehler.net, and it's got basically everything that you need to know about what I'm doing. When you get on my website, if you push the YouTube button on my front page, it'll take you to my YouTube channel where there's probably 200 different videos, and I do lots of little 3-4 minute videos of updates and different philosophies. Also, all of my radio interviews, I've done probably a good 100 radio interviews. They are all also on there, and you can listen at different things and get some varying philosophies about quantum healing.
Give us an idea exactly what all you do. We know that there's quantum and holistic healing, but I'm looking for something, say, a little more descriptive.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. You have a health problem, whether it's asthma, arthritis, depression, emotional issues, mental issues, no matter what it is, and you consciously need to deal with this, and you've had it with the health system, you've tried different supplements, nothing seems to be working. So you come across my webpage or my YouTube channel and you say, let's give this guy a try. What you do is make the appointment. I call you when the appointment comes up, and you're going to give me the symptoms of what you're going through. So asthma, 5 people have asthma. You can have it for 5 different reasons. Everybody is different. You have to treat everybody as separate. You can't treat the disease. You treat the person. So you're going to give me the symptoms and a bit of a history on it. And then what I'm going to start doing is taking my pendulum, and start asking questions of it. And it's going to give me the answers at a 99% accuracy rate, exactly what it is. So your asthma could be a bacterial infection and fungus. It could be parasite, could be heavy metals. And there's also going to be some energetic spiritual component. And generally, that's some type of alien that is within your body or some kind of spell, witchcraft, or black magic. When I find these answers with my pendulum, what I do is I use something called sacred geometry, which is pyramids and rings with different shapes within them. And this geometry, what it does is it acts as an amplifier and antenna for quantum energy, or God energy, if you will, or zero-point energy, whatever you want to refer to it as. Look at it as the law of attraction, where you ask it of something of it, and it brings it to you. So when I take this pyramid and I hold it over the phone and I give the instruction of whatever it is I find, I tell the pyramid to remove the frequency of whatever it is I find, and at the quantum level, which is instantly, the problem is gone. So quite often, if you're having a lot of problem breathing, I remove whatever the stressor is, the problem is in your lungs, and right away you feel better.
And these are like what, permanent cures?
For the most part, permanent, unless there's something that is continuously coming back into your body. Let's say you're drinking poison every day. Well, we can get rid of it one day, but if you drink poison the next day, you're still going to have it. If it is something that can be taken away and it doesn't come back in, then yes, it for all intents and purposes, it is permanent.
Kind of like drinking beer. You can
Exactly.
you can go to the bathroom and let it out, deposit it, but if you're going to drink another, you're going to have more.
I love that analogy.
It came to my mind while I was listening to you, and I don't know, something compelled me to say it live on the air. But yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from with that. So have you had any success with anything like, say, cancer?
Oh, my goodness. Well, see, cancer is one of the tricky things. Generally, people are going to come to me when they're in stage 4 cancer and everything has failed. By that time, your body is so deteriorated that it may be very hard to catch up before it takes over, okay? The answer is yes, I have had success with cancers, with tumors. So cancers have been successful for people who haven't been too far gone yet.
Now, you was talking about cancer a minute ago. When I first started off over here at Revolution Radio, one of my guests amongst the first of them was a man named Carl O'Helvey that has a website called You Can Beat Lung Cancer. He's an RN who was diagnosed with cancer some 30-odd years ago that took his knowledge in medicine and combined it with apothecary, I guess you'd say, herbs and roots and, a different kind of diet sort of thing. And he actually did cure his cancer, and it hasn't been back in 30 years. We do know that despite what doctors tell you, chemo is not the only route. And the one thing that me and Carl discussed right here on Revolution Radio was the fact being that for people that are not comfortable with alternative healing methods, don't necessarily have to give up their hospital or their doctor that they do have confidence in. They could do both at the same time. The same thing don't always work for everybody. I mean, you hear cases where chemo doesn't work at all. You hear other cases where it gets partially remitting. And then you hear other cases, people say that, matter of fact, Joel Osteen's mother was one of them, had cancer. And she credited it to prayer, but she was getting chemo at the same time. So we really don't know which one or both of them combined didn't do the trick. But her cancer went into remission and never came back.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, Royce, it doesn't matter what you did. Is the cancer gone? That's the only
there you
thing
go,
that you
right there. The bottom line dollar. As long as it's gone, it doesn't matter how it got there.
Exactly. Now, when I'm doing my work, when I'm using my tools and I'm making the intent, it is a form of a prayer. I'm asking the universe, I'm asking God, I'm asking love and light, I'm asking the 0 point, whatever you want to call it, to come in and remove this problem, to heal this body. I'm making that request. So it is a form of a prayer. Does prayer work? Well, absolutely. There's no doubt. The intent of the prayer is very important. And how much heart resonant do you put in that prayer? There's a lot of things that do count when you're doing that type of request, let's say, to remove a health problem.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about the fact that, let's say you might have a big success rate with cancer and other illnesses using your form of prayer, as you call it. whereas other people would have no success at it at all. Just because somebody can't do it wouldn't necessarily mean it can't be done. It could just mean, like you said, there's varying factors that may be happening different between you and this other person, in other words. Well, do you think there's also anything involved with, say, some people might have parts of them activated that are dormant, and others that, in regards to prayer or other spiritual gifts like psychic abilities or anything like that?
The way that works, now we all have some kind of gift. Mine is a gift of healing. Some people might have a gift of being psychic where they can get information from spirits and relay that information to somebody who needs it. We all have some kind of gift. Now, there are dark forces out there, and it's generally extraterrestrials like gray aliens, reptilians, and archons that love to put a filter on these gifts so that they're not quite as powerful as they could be, or they might be infiltrating through that gift in order to have it work against you or have it work through them so they can siphon off the energy. There's a lot of consciousness out there that loves to play with the human race to see what happens and to have a nice big laugh on our account. Yeah, there are things that can definitely manipulate that gift or manipulate things that are happening.
Well, Chris, to be honest with you, I think you covered one of the big reasons I was looking at right there when you said to the fact gifts. I mean, you hear some people get live on the radio and say, everybody's a psychic, but yet everybody's not reading everybody's thoughts or telling the future or anything like that. And some of them will credit to the fact that the ability is just dormant, which in some cases I'm sure that could be it. But I think a lot of it is not everybody's gifted with a psychic or a healing ability. Like you say, even the Bible tells us, not that I believe the Bible's infallible or anything, but it does say that different people are given diverse gifts, in other words. Apostle Paul teaches on that. I'm not sure how that works, but if it was a gift, then you wouldn't expect everybody to be able to do it.
Take the energy world, for instance. So there's a guy in Alberta, Canada, and the company's called Crystalline Incorporated. This is the guy who builds my tools, and I buy them off of him. I don't make these myself. His gift is to be able to clear negative energies out of the earth grid. So he's not a healer, but he heals the earth. He works in a different capacity. He has a different job. Just like you got a big office building, there's one person who's specified in programming computers. There's one person specified in maintaining computers. Everybody has their own special jobs. Same thing on this planet. We all have specific jobs for specific purposes that we're supposed to be carrying out.
Like some people are great tarmen and others are not. Some people are doctors
Exactly.
while others are lawyers.
Exactly. Same thing in the spiritual healing realm, the universal realm. Everybody has a specific duty.
And it could be that maybe while we're in between lifetimes, we choose specific duties.
We can choose them. They can be chosen for us. You look at past lifetimes, which is one thing I do work within to clear out.
I know I've interviewed a guy, oh my goodness, about 6 years ago back at Blog Talk Radio that said he was reincarnated John the Gospeler. Very well could be.
With the work that I do and the things that I find within it, I don't dismiss anything.
Okay. And you've talked some about the healing with pyramids. Is this just any kind of a pyramid or anything you could, like, say, make a pyramid out of cardboard or anything at home and it'll work? Or do you have to have crystal pyramids? Or
Pyramids, there's a lot of different concepts. There's a lot of different materials that are used. The materials that we use, raw steel, and it's coated with pure platinum and pure gold. So the gold and platinum coatings do create a certain resonance of energy, so that is important. Nick Edwards, the pyramid man, he makes his pyramids out of titanium arrow shafts.
wow.
Okay, he charges his with a Tesla coil, so he's putting energy within them. So there's many different concepts and ways to do it. Some people will make a large pyramid out of copper piping, copper plumbing, and they'll sit within it and meditate. There's many different ways to do it. Now, cardboard, I don't think would be a very good conductor.
Yeah, I was about to say what we're looking for is things that conduct energy.
It's a conductive of energy, yes. And metals, different metals in different combinations work very well. Copper is conductive of electricity, so lots of people like to make the copper pyramids.
How did y'all find out y'all could do this? Just experimenting?
Well, Crystalline in Alberta has been doing this for many, many years, and when I met him, he had his products developed, and I just bought some off of him, and he gave me some training on how to do it, and I just took them myself and started using them my own way and found success with them.
Well, I'm glad you did. Lose this here question that's in the chat room by causation. He was wanting to know, do you ever use three-sided pyramids?
I don't use three-sided pyramids. The tetrahedron, I do think we have one through crystalline. I know they used to have one. But no, I've never used a tetrahedron before.
Oh, are those also called tetrahedrons?
I believe that's the term for it, yes.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Because you're talking about geometric shapes here, and, you got geometric measurements and everything else that was, all this stuff was also very important to the ancients. I mean, I've read that the gods had to actually tell them where to put their temples, which way to face it, and what geometric measurements to use, the whole 9 yards, shapes and all. So it seemed to be important to the ancient gods and the ancients as well. And I think it probably has something to do with quantum mechanics.
Geometry is everywhere. Parliament Building in Winnipeg is a prime example. It is actually set up as a Masonic temple with all the geometry within it. All the rooms are a specific size, like 3333 is a very big number, a certain amount of steps that go up to the next level. So it's full of geometry. And what the geometry will do is it will create, in some instances, a vortex of energy to open. It'll cause different things at the quantum level to come in and activate. When you use the different geometries, different numbers, musical notes are very big when you're working with sacred geometry. If you add a musical note to a piece of sacred geometry tool, it changes its vibration and it'll do something different within your body. So yes, sacred geometry is very, very big everywhere. And you can, if you know what to look for, you can go and look at certain buildings and say, oh, look, there's geometry, circle, square, triangle, rectangle, all very big basic components of energy tools. There's one tool I have. It's called a Vesica Pisces. I'm holding it right now. It looks like 2 pyramids, butt to butt, and then there's wires that go around it. It almost looks like a football. But if you really look at it, you can see the 3 different types of geometry within it, all put together, creates a higher form of energy.
Yeah, this all makes sense here when you begin to realize that all of creation, might near it, as far as I know of, I've been taught, is actually made from vibration and atoms.
100%, yes.
So therefore, if you want to, manipulate that anything at the quantum level, it would need shapes of specific, positions, sizes. Just changing where you put holes in a flute, for example, would change the sound of it. Changing the shape of a horn could change the sound of a horn when you blow it. I mean, you got to remember, when things have a different size or different shape, it changes the vibration and changes the sound and everything that goes with it, in other words.
That's exactly it. And look at that concept, or you can look at the concept where the pyramid or the tool is the flute with no holes or anything to change it, but your intent that you put in it changes the vibration.
You might want to give out your website one more time.
Okay, the website again is chriskehler.net. I'm on Facebook. Just do a search on me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. Very easy to get a hold of by email. My email address is CKEHLER100@SHAW.ca. If you email me today, I will get back to you later tonight. If you have any questions whatsoever about how I do my work, or can I help you with certain things, feel free and ask. I'm here for you. I'm here for humanity to help with any kind of problem.
Their music, so I guess that would be a good time to go to break, and we'll take up our conversation again when we come back. You folks just sit back, enjoy the break time music, or go get you a drink or some coffee, whatever makes you happy.
Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.